Welcome to Mitchell Elementary's ELF. This is the unit on designs in nature and spiders.
All right, this is Center 2, Wonders of Web Weaving and Silk Spinning. And in this center, you're going to discover the different uses that spiders have for silk. It's not just for webs. And you're going to discover the different kinds of webs that spiders build. And before I start, though, I did some interesting research, and I thought I'd share some facts that you could pass on to students as they move through your center. So, here we go. A thread of spider silk is stronger than a thread of steel that's the same thickness. Spiders make 7 different kinds of silk. They make them for making traps, for providing shelter, for making egg cases, wrapping up their prey, and to create drag lines that help them, that they trail behind them and they use to get away quickly or drop out of sight from prey. Webs serve as camouflage and act as a way for spiders to catch food. And then a really neat one I found was that the golden orb weaver can choose what color its silk is. So if it's a sunny place it's building its web, it builds it out of gold. Or if it's shady, it builds it out of white webbing, white silk. And I will throw out some more facts as we go. So in this center, you're going to look at several different types of web designs. And you'll start by looking at these laminated sheets that have all kinds of information. Do all spiders spin webs? Not all spiders do. In fact, there are basically 2 groups of spiders. Those that spin webs and those that are hunters. So this tells you a little bit about that. There are handouts that go over the different common web types: an orb web, a funnel web, a sheet web, and a cobweb. And there's a couple more we'll discuss with our examples. And then there are a plethora of other great, colorful handouts that talk about why spiders don't get stuck in their own webs, which I'll do an experiment for you in a second. Again, more pictures of different webs and why and how spiders make silk. And then other laminated sheets that you might use as you discuss the different types of webs that they weave when you get to those. So that would be a good, just basic introduction to get kids thinking about the fact that that common spider web they always see isn't the only kind. So the orb web is the first one in your handout, and it's the most common web that we find in our day-to-day life with spiders. And my amazing fact about orb webs is that a common garden spider uses about 50 to 200 feet of silk to spin a web that's about a foot wide, and they can spin it in an hour in your backyard. And they also usually spin about, I had that fact, I think I read they spin at least 100 webs in their lifetime. So, this first one in your outline tells you to do a simple experiment for the orb web. And so you'll pull out the orb web example that's on our board here, and you could talk about how the orb web is built. There's an explanation of web construction and a diagram that goes with it, and you could use our somewhat three-dimensional example to explain that. And this is great about pointing out the different parts of the web. And then it says, do a simple experiment. Cut off a piece of Scotch tape and lay it down sticky side up. So we'll do that. And I'm going to actually fold the end under on each side just to keep it from going everywhere. So there's
Oh, you're so smart.
there's my piece of. Now, because you might wonder how it is spiders can move across their web and not get stuck. Well, this experiment is going to show you that. So you're going to have to tell the students to think of their fingers as insect legs and walk them across this tape, and it sticks. So, and that's what they're hoping will happen to an insect, that it'll stick and it'll get stuck. But spiders need an adaptation for that. So what you will do,
I think it's all in there.
is get out a piece of wax paper and some cooking spray to simulate what spiders have on their feet. And you'll have the kids, after they've walked along here and gotten stuck as if they were an insect, now they're going to dip their fingers in here, and now they're going to be a spider. And I am no longer sticking to that tape.
So quiet.
So that's a very nice adaptation because the spider's legs are oily, and that's what keeps them getting stuck or from getting trapped in the sticky silk. Just like our oily fingers didn't get stuck on the tape. So that's pretty much, you'll go over the explanation and you'll talk about the different parts of how the orb web is made, and that's all in that handout that I showed you earlier, and then you'll do this really cool experiment, and that'll give everybody an idea of the common orb web. And then, the next one we'll move on to is a purse web. So a purse web, which is this one, is this one. I will leave that in the background for effect.
Oh, yes. There's your cheat sheet, people. Purse web.
Purse web.
Okay.
So a purse web spider builds a long tube-like web on the side of a rock or a tree. So here's our rock. Here's the web it's built. And then the spider burrows way down inside of the web, and it hangs out and it waits there. Then along comes an insect, just minding its own business, crawling up the tree. Out comes the spider, which, believe it or not, is in there. And it grabs that insect and pulls it back in. I would strongly recommend that as the adult you do this demonstration, or we will no longer have a purse web example. So there's a spider, there's the insect, it grabs it, it goes in there. You can just demonstrate how that works. If you feel like you have an extremely trustworthy older student, then that's up to you, I suppose. All right. The next web is a trapdoor spider. And a trapdoor spider, again, there's the cheat, it says right there on the side. So these spiders dig a hole and they line it with silk and capture its food. And there's a handout that goes with it. Thank you. And so the trapdoor up here is covered with leaves and camouflage, and another little insect comes along. Same red insect. There's a plethora of these red insects. And it walks along and the spider's waiting, and when it gets there, it grabs its prey and takes it back into its lair. And yum, it has some food.
Yum.
It'll
Down the
live
hatch.
Another day. So you can talk about the facts on this sheet and you can have the kids practice how a trapdoor spider might capture an insect.
Be very careful with our models, though.
Yes, be very careful. You might give each student a job to have one web is theirs to get to do. Not every kid doing every model. All right, lassoing.
Oh, we have one more. Yeah, this center is definitely going to run out of time, so the parent might want to demonstrate at least those two she just did, the trapdoor and purse. I would probably let all the kids get their fingers wet and then have to decide about the one she's doing now.
So, an example of a spider that does the lassoing is a bolus spider. And what they do is they send out webbing that snags their prey. So you can simulate that with a lovely sticky hand.
That's a good sticky hand.
And you've got your insects. I'm going to put a few out just so my odds are better. And we'll just take this and hopefully grab an insect.
So these might be a little big and heavy. We also have some paper ones or foam ones.
Oh, you know what? That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Aha!
You disregard the plastic insects.
Plastic insects are too heavy. On to the foam
We're
ones.
using these foam insects.
There! Success! So don't let the kids peel the sticker backing off those butterflies. Just let them use this. And yes, I'm sure all the kids will really want to do this one too. And we have plenty of sticky hands. So
Yep. So there you
go nutso.
Oh, stuck your ear.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. So last but not least, we have net casting, and there's a spider in Australia called ogre face spider, and I'm sure there might be discussion about him somewhere. At any rate, that spider takes a net, and they if you have an insect, they throw a net over the insect and they grasp it up, the spider carries it away. Hopefully I'll have a spider in here too. I think there's a spider buried under all my handouts that you could use with the net that would help visualize that whole process. So I believe that's about it. So there's 5 different kinds. You are gonna run close on time.
Yeah, so make
Plan ahead and maybe practice how you're gonna do it before you get there.
yes.
And if you have any questions, Mitchell, you can email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com. And good luck and have fun.